Alright, so consonants are great. They're a lot of fun. I hope you looked at the clickable IPA chart and listened to some of those. But in order to actually have words, we need to have vowels as well. Vowels are a little bit more complicated. It's because with consonants, it's fairly clear exactly what your mouth is doing, and you can feel it pretty easily. With vowels, you can do kind of a lot of different things with your mouth and still get basically the same vowel. So they're a little bit harder to talk about. Consequently, I'm not going to talk about them in a ton of depth. I do expect you to read the Harley article very carefully, though, because she goes into things in a little bit more detail there, and you are responsible for that content, of course. Alright, so interestingly, it is not a clear-cut line between vowels and consonants. We have things called liquids and glides, which are kind of in between. Liquids are sounds like R, and L, and these sometimes can act as a vowel in a word. There are some words that don't really have a different vowel. They just, for example, the word bird, you could transcribe that as B-R-D. You may feel like there is another vowel in there besides the R, but that intuition is mostly based on your 15 years of experience with spelling. If once you've sort of practiced transcribing a bit more, you might come to sort of realize that there is not really another vowel in there, which is kind of mind-blowing, I think. So R and L can act like vowels sometimes. So can these things called glides. So in elementary school, when your teacher said there are 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, she was kind of right, or he was kind of right. Y, which the Y sound, which in IPA we transcribe as this J, and W, W sound, are semivowels. And you can tell that because when you hold them out, when you say them really slowly, they sort of turn into a vowel. So if you say Y, yeah, it turns into the vowel E, and we transcribe that vowel with the letter I. A little confusing. If you say the vowel W, the glide W, and you prolong it, it turns into the vowel U. So these semivowels are really as close to being vowels as you could possibly be, but they are still consonants in most instances. How about actual vowels? Alright, this is mostly what I want you to know about vowels. I'm going to talk about some finer distinctions in a bit, which are also important, but you really especially want to focus on learning these vowels and being able to transcribe them. So we have the vowel E from bead, E from bid, A from bade, E from bed. We can call this vowel epsilon. The vowel A from bad. The vowel we call this one schwa. And this is a very special vowel in English because it appears in almost every word that has more than one syllable. Above, banana. It's kind of that short, reduced vowel. As you'll see in a bit, it's kind of a neutral vowel, and so when we're being sloppy, we often pronounce things with schwa. We also have the vowel oo from boot, O, boat. This vowel that we call caret, this sounds very much like schwa. You can't really tell the difference if you just prolong the vowel. So if I say schwa versus the caret, it's the same thing. The difference is that caret appears in a stressed context, above. So the first one there, you can feel how the first vowel in above is really short and kind of quieter. It's just a little less prominent. The second vowel in above, it's longer, a little louder, just more prominent. So that's really the difference between schwa and caret. And then finally we have this vowel ah, which is the vowel from bot. Depending on your dialect, you probably have more vowels than this, but these are the vowels that I expect you to focus on and being able to transcribe them and tell which one you're dealing with. Some of the other distinctions are a little bit finer, and it depends on what part of the country you're from, whether you have them at all. So these are the most important ones. Okay, so here we are back to our mouth, which has now been flipped. And we can represent the vowels using what's known as the vowel space. So this is like if you had a grid inside your mouth. And basically, the vowels can be described based on where the apex of the tongue is. That's this part right here. It's the highest, most prominent part of your tongue. And the apex of your tongue can move both in the vertical plane, up and down, and in the horizontal plane, side to side. So sometimes your tongue is way far forward and way high up, and then you get a vowel like E or I. If your tongue is farther back, but still high, you would get a vowel like oo. You can feel how the back of your tongue is the highest part there, oo, and the tip of your tongue is a little bit farther down. If you say a vowel like ah, your tongue is very low, ah, and the highest part is somewhere down here in the middle. Alright, so here's the vowel space represented sort of away from the mouth. So again, we have the front vowels. Some vowels are in the front, some are in the center, and some are in the back. The vowels that you pronounce with the tip of your tongue, with the highest part of your tongue up in the front of your mouth, are E, A, and A. If you say those vowels, you'll feel how, as you say them each, your tongue is going down. So E, your tongue is very high, so it's a high vowel. If you say A, your tongue is sort of in the middle, but still front, so it's a middle front vowel. If you say A, your tongue is pretty low and still in the front. So E, A, A. You should try saying that a few times and feel how your tongue moves down each time. Now, if you are staying high, so just like E, but if you're moving so that the highest part of your tongue is up near the back of your mouth, ooh, you get a vowel like ooh, E, ooh, E, ooh. So try saying that and feel how your tongue is moving from front to back. We also have the vowel O, which is back, but it's middle, like A, O, A, O. And here we have here we have the vowel schwa. This is the one I was talking to you about before. It is that sort of neutral, centralized vowel. You can see how it's in the middle, it's central, it's just sort of, it makes sense that when you're being lazy, that's where your mouth goes. That's sort of the easiest vowel to pronounce. Then we have, oh sorry, I skipped this one. We have this ah, which is central as well, with your tongue very low. Then we have also the vowels I, and And as you can see, they sort of go in pairs. So there are two high front vowels in this quadrant, E and I. And I'll talk to you about the difference in just a second. But first, I'm going to talk about rounding. So these vowels here, oo and o, not this shouldn't be in that box. Oo and o are back rounded vowels. They're rounded, which means that the lips are actually sort of pursed when you make this vowel. Oo, o, you can feel how your lips are sort of pursing together. Versus these vowels, where your lips are not pursed, they are unrounded vowels. E, A. You can feel how your lips are sort of spread, versus oo and o, where your lips are rounded. Then we have here, in orange, we have our tense vowels. And these are vowels which are, the back of the tongue is sort of tensed up. You can call it advanced tongue root. The root of your tongue is sort of being advanced up. And they are in counterpart to these lax vowels. So if you say E, they're both front and high, but they differ in what the back of the tongue is doing. So if you say E, I, you can feel how the back of the tongue moves. The same if you do A. So those are the main distinctions that we talk about in vowels, whether they're produced with the apex of the tongue front or back, whether the apex of the tongue is high or low, whether the root of the tongue is tense or lax, and then whether the lips are rounded or unrounded. All right. I'm going to stop part 1 right here.